In the early 90s, I was a high school art teacher. I was coaching cross country and track. Well, I quit my job to become part of something bigger. My brother Steve and I were very much into playing video games. We decided to design a level and design a demo. So we went all in, sent out 10 copies. 8 of them had made offers to us. We ended up signing with Electronic Arts at that time. That was our first big intro into the game arena. We figured out right away that we can't just be artists. We were into the business world and making the games. And I knew that at that point that I had to kind of put my artist cap down and put on my business cap. Over the next decade, it proved quite true because we got sued. Businesses tried to bleed us out. We had employee issues and things like that. And that's when I finally discovered Vistage. And that's when I felt like, okay, I'm not alone anymore. Now I've got some help.
I think that Brian's darkest secret is something that we all hold, and that's actually imposter syndrome. And he runs this amazing organization. He has been the head of this vision all along.
You know, they always say it's lonely at the top, and it is. So it's nice to be able to come to a place that's safe, and you can network with all these intelligent people who have dealt with a lot of the things you've had before or have a lot of great advice. I love the concept of learning together, sharing our knowledge. What everybody learned from those different speakers that we had was really important. Being able to be open with each other. When people are most successful is when they can be vulnerable to their peers and they trust them and they actually get the best advice possible. What I learned through Vistage made a big impact right away. In 2009, 2010, we had one of our biggest challenges in the company. That was the first time I thought maybe we could go out of business. The market changed and we had a big economic downturn, and that really affected our studio directly. We had to reduce our staff by almost a half, and that was a dark day.
The teams were very down. I think that at the time, he was getting a lot of pressure to, what's next? What are we going to do? He actually did have to hold layoffs, including his best friend. I know that even to this day, he regrets that, and regrets how they ended things.
Hardest time of my life. I was, not sleeping, trying to figure this out. I actually could see my company dying at this point after 20 years. I've hit every challenge I can, and then I got the biggest punch in the gut. Being with part of Vistage at that time was crucial. I see all the different moves that they've made during their crises and how they were decisive and they took those measures, and they were hard. It's hard to fire friends. It's hard to change culture. It was conditioned into me by being part of that group to see how you had to pivot, and that's the way it has to be, and that's why you're there to keep the herd strong and keep things going in the right direction.
There was a moment in 2009 that was a very dark time for our studio. At that same moment, we were introduced to the Call of Duty franchise.
That was the ray of hope for us. I knew I had to do whatever it takes to make this successful. I made mandatory hours where everyone had to be in for 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and I would be here with them as well. If they didn't like it, they would leave, and that would be okay because I need people who are going to be tough to be able to do this, to make sure that everyone nailed this work. We did it, everyone loved it, and it really opened the doors. Our studio was doubling in size and growing with great opportunities. We got to work on Star Wars and Star Trek, and things were really going great.
Call of Duty has its own professional gaming league. It is massive. There are literally stadiums filled every single year by hundreds of thousands of gamers who just come out to watch people play Call of Duty as though they're an NFL team.
They are creating loyal fans. They're revolutionizing how video games are played with their free play model. There's all kinds of things that they're doing that's super innovative that we don't always see.
Video game industry does $180 billion a year, and movies do $40 billion a year. We eclipse all of that, and I don't think people understand that. And Call of Duty is the godfather of it all as far as continued success. Raven was approached by the Wisconsin Historical Society. They document us as the first video game company in Wisconsin. Well, we love being here in Madison. Got acquired by Activision. We had it put in the contract that they could never move us from Madison because we're very committed here.
Microsoft is paying nearly $70 billion for Activision.
We're trying to work with the legislation to get a tax credit for game development. Also, we're trying to tie ourselves closely to the University of Wisconsin system. Our idea is that we can stop the brain drain in Wisconsin. And I think we have a lot to offer. Our salary is average $120,000 a year and a lot of good tech. And I think it's a good synergy for the state. We've had no trouble attracting talent here over the years. You know, it all came from darkness into light. One door closes, sometimes a door opens. You just have to fight to get there. I don't think I could have made it without the help we had from Vistage.